season with a huge comeback win in Atlanta. Since that night, they own the best record in baseball, now perched at the top of the division standings. Tonight in Cincinnati, they look for Steven Strasburg to get back on track and point the Nats toward a 10th straight series win. Welcome to the Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, home of the All-Star Game this year. In their history, this is how long the Reds have been around. They've had 100 players make the National League All-Star team, and one of them is sitting next to me. It's Ray Knight. Good to have you with us in a city that you know very well.
I love this city, buddy. So many things have happened here that I reflect in my life. My son was born here and all those great Reds teams. It's nice to be back, but I'd rather be with this ball club.
All right, let's talk some Nats baseball. First of all, the not-so-good news about Jason Worth. Unbelievable. Now, this is the play at Nationals Park 3 years ago in the month of May when his wrist just buckled under him. He was somehow able to throw the ball into the infield, and that was a serious thing that had Jason out for a couple of months. He, of course, would go on to hit the most memorable home run in the playoffs, and then a couple weeks ago in San Diego, Ray, right off of the wrist again, and the news is not good.
That hurts me just to look at that, and what a crippling loss for this ball club. Not something maybe that we can't overcome with these guys right here replacing them, buddy, but in the clubhouse. He is such a big part of this clubhouse and really sets the tone for this ball club with his toughness and the way he goes about his ability.
Early indications are that Michael Taylor will be getting the bulk of that playing time, but I think we'll hear from Tyler Moore and Clint Robinson as well. Two teams going in different directions. Your old ball club, the Reds, are really struggling. They've lost 10 of 11. The Nats, of course, on a big-time roll, and they just won another series.
Well, you do it with pitching and defense, and certainly look at that record there in the run differential. Unbelievable. Batting average and scoring, runners in scoring position. There's just no contest. And then look at the starters ERA. They say they've got a lot of good arms here that are coming. There's not a lot of energy in this ball club right now, and they're struggling in so many different departments. But, hey, you look at our ball club, that's the only one we're worried about. They're doing everything right. Pitching, defense, certainly the bullpen, clutch hitting, and then Bryce Harper.
Well, people in the press box keep telling me, hey, take it easy on our Reds this weekend. There's still some pretty good veterans over there with a lot of pride. Steven Strasburg, what's going on? Everybody wondering. He's got all the stuff in the world. We'll look closer at Strasburg and some of his recent struggles when we bring you back to Cincinnati. Tonight in Cincinnati, the ball club split 6 games last year. Steven Strasburg gets the call for the Nats tonight. His last 12 innings, he's given up 20 hits and 17 runs. And Ray, you've seen young pitchers struggle and then become something special. Anything you can see going on with Steven?
Yeah, I do see some things. He's not down with his fastball. He needs to throw the fastball around the knees. I don't care how hard you throw. If you start getting it up thigh high, they're going to do something with it. I don't think he's pitching inside enough. He needs to throw the ball in there, but a little more down underneath the hands. He's just hard to beat when he throws the ball inside because that sets up the fastball and that sets up the changeup and that nasty curveball. He's been throwing a lot of pitches out over the plate. He's been elevating more than normal. That doesn't allow him to get the changeup because he's behind hitters.
All right, first 9 starts in, well, a couple of years ago up till now, and that ERA is not showing a good trend. Down to the field with more. Good evening, Dan Coco.
Good evening, Bob Carpenter. Steven Strasburg's struggles are evident by those numbers that you just pointed out, and the Nats are by no means oblivious to those struggles. But pitching coach Steve McCatty told me that he thinks that Strasburg is maybe getting a little bit of a bad rap here. He said his ERA for his career coming into this season was 3.02. Strasburg went 215 innings last season. He had the most strikeouts in the league. McCatty said all pitchers go through rough patches, and Strasburg is obviously in one now, but he said that Strasburg will work out of this period eventually, that he's too good not to. Matt Williams said the key for Strasburg tonight will be fastball command, like Ray was just talking about. His last time out against the Phillies, Strasburg got ahead of a handful of hitters 0-2, but he wasn't able to put them away. Williams feels like if Strasburg can locate his fastball well and throw more quality strikes, the emphasis on quality, that he'll be just fine.
All right, Dan, thank you. Strasburg 3-5. 6.50 ERA. And as long as you have Bryce Harper on your team, you can get away with a few things as a pitcher. How about 6 homers to right field this year, 6 home runs to center field this year, and if you pitch him inside, it is see you later to the upper reaches of any ballpark. PNC Bank for the achiever in you. By Ocean City, Maryland. Put your vacation days to good use in Ocean City, Maryland. Book now at ococean.com. And by Land Rover, above and beyond. Well, we looked around Great American Ballpark a few minutes ago, and Ray and I were kind of sad to see the number of empty seats. A lot of folks will still be coming in. The Reds do draw well on weekends. Weather, kind of muggy in the area, 82 right now at game time. Humidity under partly cloudy skies at 52%. Possibly some weather tomorrow. We'll worry about that for game 2. Ian Desmond featured in the Nats lineup tonight. 16 doubles, 4th in the league. And with his 3-hit night in Chicago Wednesday, 17 hits now in his 12-game hitting streak. And he's hitting .304 over his last 3.5 weeks. Here's Anthony DeSclafani. Used to be with the Marlins. His first career start against the Nats.
I really like this kid. talking to some of their brass. He has a fastball around 93, runs it in, a lot of sink, a slurvish type slider, a changeup that he doesn't throw a lot, basically fastball slider.
Right on time, first pitch at 7:10. And a strike to Denard Span, who's 0 for 1 career against DeSclafani. He has faced the Nats 3 times, but all those were relief appearances. 25 years of age, 6'1", 192. Span hits it sharply, but right there is Skip Schumacher. You might be wondering where Brandon Phillips is. Well, he has a left turf toe that's going to hold him out for his 3rd consecutive game.
Defense for the Reds. A lot of changes right now. Bird, Hamilton, Bruce in the outfield. Frazier over there at third. Outstanding defensive shortstop and Cozart. Schumacher, Votto, and Pena behind the plate.
Yeah, Zach Cozart, 15 games since his last error. Here's Ian Desmond, low and inside. So Ian, 2 doubles and a single in Chicago, getting hits in his first, 3rd, and 5th at bats. Up the middle and deep catch by Schumacher. No chance. 13 games for Ian Desmond. Now 18 for 50, 360 during that streak.
Well, Bobby, staying inside the baseball so well. They try to go inside. They do. A sinker running back. But Desi leads with his hands, gets the barrel to the ball, hits it hard up the middle. The big bounce off the mound's the only thing that allowed Schumacher to get to the ball, but with that great speed, as you said, no chance.
Ian Desmond now hitting over .310 in his last 24 games. There's Escobar. He'll look it in, low in the zone for a strike. Coming off a series in Chicago when he was just 2 for 12, but he was on base 4 times.
And Bob, this kid, you can run on him. He was pretty slow to the plate, about a 1.5, 1.56. Make it very difficult for Pena to throw him out. Desi get a good lead, work out make him throw over there. You get what's called a one-way lead, where you get as far off as you can, working your way back to first to try to see his best move early.
Escobar rips one over the shortstop's reach. Desmond thinking third base all the way, and they're going to throw over there, surprisingly, and that ball almost sailed big time on Billy Hamilton. He came within a couple of inches of putting that ball into the Nats dugout.
Well, this ball smoked. It's in the gap. You've got a great runner with Desmond on first. This is one of those unnecessary throws. You can throw it into that dugout, Bob. No doubt about it. You have no chance to throw out Desi on a ball hit that much in the gap. Look at him take a little bite to get a good turn at second, looking back, knowing that he was going to be easily safe.
And just about the worst situation in baseball for any pitcher right now is first inning, 2 men aboard, and this man stepping in.
Really? Oh, my gosh.
Bryce Harper, 1 for 1 career against the right-hander. Ooh, 94 sitting upstairs, quite a rip. 19th year in the big leagues for the crew chief Jerry Meals, who has the plate. 16th year Andy Fletcher, 16th for Paul Emmel, 3rd year for Jordan Baker.
Jerry Mills about as consistent as you're going to get behind the plate. Maybe a pitcher's umpire just a tad off the plate, in and out.
And Harper fights off one near his hands. Oh, here's Bryce arriving at one of those 0-2 counts that have happened so many times this year.
And pretty interesting that he went right at him. 2 fastballs up in the zone. Pitch that Bryce has been pulverizing through that 194. I haven't even seen a report that showed 94.
Target in here. Oh, some of the takes by Bryce this year have been absolutely amazing.
There's no doubt that his eye is so keen. I think FP mentioned the other night he'd like to know what his vision is. Ted Williams had a 2010 vision. Most people, they say when you're 2020, it's pretty acute.
That was a breaking ball that he fouled.
I don't think with Bryce it matters, Bob. Do you? I mean, you've seen him as much as anybody. With 2 strikes, it doesn't matter. He's
not anymore.
He's just going to make contact, seemingly if the ball is somewhere around the plate. And he has so much power that even if he's at 85% with 2 strikes, he can hit the ball out of the ballpark. I'm going to try to go in on him right here.
And a 1-2, and Harper lays off the pitch upstairs. So a battle. It's back to even now. DeSclafani, 10th start of the year. He's given up 4 home runs, but the league only hitting .216 against him. And there's the pitch track with the at bat. All of it's inside from way up to the bottom of the strike zone. And maybe the Reds saw what happened in Chicago and thought they could catch Escobar by surprise. He got picked off once in that series with Bryce Harper in the box.
That was a wacky deal with a guy that doesn't make very many base running mistakes. Short lead right there.
Harper's going to get punched out on a pitch up in the zone. And Bryce will stand there, not say a word, and walk away slowly.
I think you're going to see this hit right at the top of the zone on pitch track. There it is, right in the upper corner. So far up, so far out. It looks like a ball to a hitter. That's that perfect pitch that a pitcher makes, and you think as a hitter, no way, but he threw it through a keyhole and got the call.
Ryan Zimmerman now. Harper has struck out 47 times this year, but he's walked 42. 8th highest RBI total in the league stepping into the box. Popped up right side, and that will be over the Reds dugout. Celebrate the season with the American Standard All-Star Sales event. Visit MidAtlanticComfort.com for amazing rebate and financing opportunities. So Anthony DeSclafani against right-handed batters, very tough.
Well, you can see why. He runs the fastball in on right-handed hitters. That makes you have a tendency to spin off the ball, and that slider that he throws makes you vulnerable.
He's ahead of Zimmerman now. Ryan good at taking the ball the other way. And that was perfect on the outside edge, 0-2.
You're going to see that with Jerry Mills. I mentioned it. He is a pitcher's umpire. He's so consistent. He's going to call the ball the same all the time. You just have to go up there as a hitter and know that they're going to get the pitches on the edges, Bob. And that never bothered me if an umpire was just a tad wide, as long as he stayed there and he established that strike zone.
It's a battle now with runners at first and third, 2 outs. Pena way outside. I mean, he threw it right to him, but he was set up well to the right of the umpire. We'll check it on pitch track.
And just a tad outside. I mean, just barely missing the outside corner. Almost right on top of that last pitch that he called a strike out there.
Former reliever, now a starter, really establishing his fastball early. There's the hook. Zimmerman high in the air, right center. Hamilton and Bruce converge, and Jay Bruce will take care of it. So the Nationals had first and third, 1 out, couldn't score. Steven Strasburg goes to work. averaging 29,156, 10th in the league out of 15 ball clubs, and former Nat, former a lot of teams. Marlon Byrd, he's come alive in the month of May with 8 homers and 17 RBIs. He's also had 19 career at-bats with a double and a homer against Steven Strasburg. You might notice the absence of Brandon Phillips. And Devin Mesoraco, their catcher, on the DL with a left hip problem. So here's Strasburg, 4th career start against the Reds.
Well, let's see if he can throw that fastball on the inside third of the plate tonight. I'm not talking about off the plate in. Establish the thing on the inside corner and then wipe people out with that slider and that outstanding changeup.
The Reds are hitting .235. Only Milwaukee at .225. Lower batting average. And they've scored 170 runs. Only the Phillies fewer at 158. Zach Cozart hitting at .260. And a ball pretty well hit out to left center. Span into the sunlight, and he's watching it to grab it right in front of the Cincinnati bullpen. If you're going to throw fly balls in this ballpark, that's where you got to get them, because it's cozy down the lines and in the short gaps here.
Now look at this pitch here. Cozart, any other hitter, this is probably a home run. This ball starts middle of the plate away and works its way back. But it's hard to hit the ball and pull it when it's on that part of the edge of the plate, Bob. Now if that ball's inside another 4 or 5 inches, then you hit it to, as you mentioned, that gap in left center, which is very friendly. The right center field gap, even more friendly. The ball flies in this ballpark.
So what you're saying is, don't throw that pitch to Joey Votto, Todd Frazier, or Jay Bruce.
No,
okay.
No.
And probably Marlon Byrd.
Not out away from them.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to get the barrel to the bat on a ball away from you. On the ball inside, you have to work harder. When you're throwing 97, 95, 96, as Strauss does, you have a tough time working the barrel to that ball. Out away from you, when you're cheating, expecting that ball at 95, you can do something with it.
And you saw that short gap in right center, 370. That was designed with Ken Griffey Jr. in mind when he came back to the Reds.
Yes, it was.
Hard curveball down and in.
It was, buddy. I was here when this ball club opened as a coach for Bob Boone, and we were just shocked at how the ball carried here.
They didn't consult you, huh?
No, they did not.
Oh,
and
okay.
I mean, there were home runs hit here that were not that dissimilar to.
Votto goes long distance. That's not coming back.
Ooh.
Well, your point taken to the extreme right there. A guy like Joey Votto can hit it out of the ballpark, and that's his 8th of the year.
Now here's a guy that's an inside-out hitter. So when you're inside-outing the ball that's down, you can do something with. Now watch this pitch, down, in, and he just throws his hands inside the ball, and you know, all he does is hit a fly ball. And this is not a whole lot different than Wrigley Field. I know at Wrigley Field it says 365 out there, but that 379, I know it's true because we've measured it, but it plays like it's about 355.
Well, look out here, another home run guy, Todd Frazier. Only Bryce Harper in the National League has hit more home runs than this guy. That ball is ripped. And this is not a great start for Steven Strasburg's first 3 hitters. And I think with everything going on with Strasburg, there's no way that you can look at him and the numbers without also considering the mental aspect of what's going on right now.
I believe it's all mental, buddy. I mean, 90% of it's mental. He's throwing the ball, same velocity. He has the same curveball. It's all about getting the ball to the spot that you want to throw it.
Hot shot, Zimmerman, well played. And because the runner stops, it's now a rundown. And Ryan Zimmerman turns an unassisted 3 double play to end the first. former MVP. Steven Strasburg, the one good thing about that inning, 4 hitters, 10 pitches, 6 strikes. So things did happen quickly. But Joey Votto with the home run, the 171st of his big league career. When the Nats win, everybody does. All season long, when the Nationals win and score 7 or more, 50% off for you. Regular menu price. Online orders, papajohns.com. Enter promo code NATS50. Valid at participating D.C., Maryland, and Northern Virginia Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, the official pizza of your Washington Nationals. Here's Wilson Ramos hitting .273. 0 for 2 career against Anthony DeSclafani, who threw 16 pitches, 12 strikes in a scoreless first inning with 2 singles. Jammed, that ball running in on him, and Todd Frazier has it. 3 straight since the Escobar home run. Danny Espinosa had not had a right-handed RBI, obviously not a home run, until he came up in the 9th inning in Chicago Wednesday night.
And he smoked that ball right there. It was a ball that was down, and he just got great extension. I always loved his right-hand swing. It's more down and through the ball, a lot shorter. Gets to the ball a little quicker than he does left-handed.
The left-handed numbers sagging a bit. Danny down to .221 that side of the plate. But he has still hit .278 in his last 24 games.
Boy, he's a good player, Bob. You know, he got sent down a couple years ago with Davey Johnson, but talking about a defensive guy that can make such a difference.
Votto to his right with a backhand. Leads his pitcher perfectly, and that's 4 in a row now in quick fashion for DeSclafani. They'll face Michael A. Taylor coming up. Michael A. Taylor made one of the best catches you will ever see at Wrigley Field for the last out in the 2nd inning on Memorial Day.
That's something, unless you have tremendous speed and an ability to take the right angle. There's no chance on that ball. He went probably 25, 30 yards for that ball and laid out as good a catch as you'll ever see.
Off the bat of the pitcher, Tsuyoshi Wada. So here's the first at bat of what we would call an opportunity for Michael A. Taylor. Now that the news is confirmed on Jason Worth being out for a while. Well, how about Jason? 11 times on the DL and 6 times now with the wrist. Unbelievable. .96 at bats, 21 hits. Can't get to 92 upstairs. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You see, he went away with slider, then comes back fastball up and in. Very tough to make that adjustment with that muscle memory when you see pitches away from you. It's also interesting how he pitched him. He started everybody else off with a fastball. Because he's such a good first ball fastball hitter, they started him off with 2 breaking balls, then went to the fastball.
2 balls, 2 strikes. The graphic again on Jason Worth telling a tough tale. 6 times with the left wrist. Since he signed prior to 2011, the Nats basically win just about 6 out of every 10 games. Had a great year last year. On base percentage was good. Everything good. Taylor pops it up. This will be easy for Joey Votto. Nats go quickly in the top of the 2nd. 5 in a row for Anthony DeSclafani. Delivered by UPS. Nats Park, Monday, June 1st. Nats Blue Jays. The U.S. Army drill team will perform on the field. Live performance from the Blue Swamp Romp and Miller Lite scoreboard walk before the ball game. Nationals.com. Purchase your tickets. Interesting homestand. A slugging Toronto team coming in. And then the Cubs, who we just saw. All right, Ray, things were so busy. Bottom of the first, no time to set that defense.
Yeah, Taylor, Span, Harper, one of the most rangy outfields in the league as they all cover a tremendous amount of ground. Escobar, Desmond on the left side, Espinosa, Zimmerman on the right, Ramos pitching, and big Steven Strasburg throwing that rubber.
Against Brian Pena here. As mentioned, Devin Mesoraco on the DL. Left hip has him sidelined. So right now it's Pena, switch hitting catcher, and young Tucker Barnhart, his backup. Pena, 33 years of age, from Havana. Pretty good looking changeup, and he got the call, and Pena was surprised by Jerry Meals.
Yeah, that was right down the middle. He's surprised by that late movement. That ball is going to work itself back to the corner.
Yeah, front door on the breaking ball. That were rather the changeup. That was interesting. He tries to throw another one away.
I would right here 1-2. I would just like to see him express it right underneath that belt buckle inside.
There it is.
That's a pretty good pitch. Good idea right there. Notice how he kept that ball down, drove it down through the zone.
2-2 to Pena. And Steven held on to that one. So
Boy.
3 out of 4, the last 4 changeups here.
He fell off the mound there. He almost fell down.
Brian Pena has always been a pretty good hacker. Career .257, but right now at .296. And Strasburg lost him. Leadoff man aboard for Cincinnati. That's Steven's 14th walk against 45 strikeouts in 46 innings.
Look at this pitch right here. This is a changeup. You've got to stay on the ball, but look how he swings his leg and it pulls it way off to the inside, and he ends up a good 5 feet to the left of the mound. That was weird. And now they're going out to talk to him.
This is not a good sight. Manager, pitching coach, trainer Lee Kuntz.
Well, you know, he has had that problem with his back. It's between his.
He's done.
He's gone.
Matt Williams made a signal to the dugout before Strasburg walked off. And he is done after 1 inning plus 1 hitter. So you mentioned the pitch earlier. And Taylor Jordan's going to get the call here. Right into the clubhouse. Last pitch he threw, Ray. Ball 4 to Pena.
Pitch prior to this, he really fell off of it to the left side. There, he misses way to the right, falls off to the left. You see him scrunch his shoulder up there. And he just hasn't been right. Whatever the reason is, whether it's physical, mental, he just hasn't been right this year. And there, once again, he shows it. He shows it by being demonstrative with after the delivery, Bob.
Well, Taylor Jordan joined the ball club early this week. Now he will bring his stuff to the big leagues again and have to take over here very early in the series. Nationals skipper Matt Williams. Steven Strasburg has had to walk off the mound here in the second inning, facing 5 hitters. And Ray, let's go back to the last 2 pitches.
Well, he really pulls off this pitch to Pena, and you can see by the result of it, but he's way over there toward first base and does a little bit of shrug with his shoulder. Then he comes back again and misses way to the right side. That's just not finishing with your arm. And again, falling off the mound, trying to help it, looks like to me, Bob, and just no doubt in my mind that it's down behind his shoulder blade. They've talked about it. I spoke to Mike Rizzo today about it, and he said that he's had that problem. It's not something that he thought was major because it was down farther in the back as opposed to the shoulder, and he seemed to be getting better and better with treatment.
Well, here's Taylor Jordan, who was with the ball club for 2 days in the middle of May, actually April, and did not pitch. So on May 29th, here he is back. And what he did last year, and it was his second dose of major league action, 5 starts, 0-3. He had gone 1-3 with a 3.66 ERA back in 13, starting 9 times. This year at AAA Syracuse, 2.14 ERA and 7 starts with a 1-2 record. And in the month of May, he had thrown to the tune of a 1.61. So he's not a true bullpen guy, and taking some time here to get ready.
Yeah, he gets as many pitches as he wants when he comes in for an injury. He's a true sinker baller, Bob. Last year we saw him a lot with pitches up. He didn't seem to get the extension that he needed to get. Thus a lot of pitches up in the strike zone. I've seen him throw in spring training where he keeps the ball down, knee between the knee and shin, and he's very difficult down there. Gets a lot of ground balls. A slider is fairly flat, and then it breaks a long way, and then throws an occasional changeup. But he's pretty much a fastball pitcher in my mind that throws the breaking stuff secondarily.
Ironically, the only Red that's ever faced him is in the batter's box, Marlon Byrd. And he will hit one to center. Denard Span in and over to grab it. Boy, when you heard the bad sound off the bat, might have busted it. You were thinking that ball was going to fall in, and Denard read it well.
Yeah, right off the end of the bat, sinker worked itself down right on top of the plate, and he ends up catching the ball at the end of the bat. Although he squared it up in the middle of the ball, it was just too much on the end of the bat. No carry, a little soft liner.
So Bird now 2 for 6 career against Jordan. And here's Skip Schumacher, who's been the Reds' pinch hitting star this year. Schumacher is a pinch hitter, 7 for 19 with a couple of RBIs and 4 of those extra base hits. Started his career as an outfielder, was moved to second base several years ago in St. Louis. He's been with the Dodgers and now the Reds since. He'll drive it out of play left side.
Hits a lot of balls to left field. Doesn't try to pull the ball. Tends to pull the breaking ball between first and second. A lot of soft liners over shortstop. He can drive the ball right down the left field line. Good contact hitter.
35 years of age now. He's done a good job of sticking around by being versatile and effective. Leaving that ball out over the plate, off speed, and Jordan gives up a hit to Schumacher. Pena stops at second, 2 runners aboard with 1 out. And here we come with the pitcher now, because they're batting DeSclafani 8th.
Just way too good a pitch with 2 strikes. First of all, he gets it up. He's a sinker baller. He missed that spot about 2 feet. And then you want to throw the ball off the plate another 2, 3, 4, 5 inches off the outside part of the plate. That's right over the outside corner. You must make pitches 0-2. Guys are going to hammer you if you throw the ball anywhere near the plate, Bob, because they're more aggressive. You're more aggressive with 2 strikes than you are 2-0, because 2-0 you're looking for a ball in one area. 2 strikes, you're looking for anything close.
So here's DeSclafani, could be bunting. He does not have a career sacrifice bunt, and that's a wild pitch that'll serve the purpose of the sacrifice and move both runners up. Wow.
I suck at that. Wow. Ramos almost flinching away from that. That was weird all the way around, wasn't it? That wasn't that bad a pitch. I mean, you've got to be able to catch that ball. Ramos almost turned his head on that delivery, maybe blinded by the bat.
Infield way in, and I mean way in. 3 of the 4 are on the grass, and that's low and away. Taylor Jordan has that long arm delivery where you can see part of his arm and the baseball in his hand behind the right side of his body before he comes home with it. That's right in there, inside edge at 89. So DeSclafani this year, 1 for 14 with an RBI. Career, 2 for 24.
Everybody's shallow in the outfield. You mentioned the infield being in. Bryce will throw him out if he tries to go, from their opinion, not a very good runner.
Line drive. Desmond has it. 2 outs, and that sounded like a busted bat. Well, here's where things get interesting, because 2 outs, infielders love to play back, but you can't do that very much against Billy Hamilton. Well, the Reds would love for him to be their leadoff hitter, Ray.
Yeah.
But he's hitting .221, and from the left side of the plate, .202.
Yeah, he hits too many fly balls. He has to hit the ball on the ground. When you run like that, you hit the ball on the ground, you're going to hit .250. Last year, that's exactly what he hit. This year, just cannot get the ball on the ground. He's not a guy that walks. He's up there to swing the bat. Third base cheating in the way he should be, taking away the bunt, making him swing the bat. Everybody else pretty much normal in infield.
Yeah, Escobar probably 75 feet away on the left side of the infield. There's a tapper to Danny Espinosa. Good job by Taylor Jordan. He gave up a hit, didn't give up anything else. So Strasburg threw 16 pitches, 1-0 Reds. Leading off, hasn't had an AB this year. Let's go inside the numbers with STG. So the Nats 21 of 27 after they win the series in Chicago. 150 runs scored during this time, 219 on the year. Only the Blue Jays and Yankees have scored more. Batting average as a team, impressive. On base percentage, impressive. Slugging, well, you know.
Impressive. Yeah, you can't play any better than this ball club has played. I mean, in all aspects of the game, really. One thing that Matt has changed here is we used to run a lot. We're not running at all offensively, but it's just, that's pretty much his mantra is don't give away an out by bunting. Don't give away an out by trying to steal. Got too many guys that swing the bat well and give them a shot.
Taylor Jordan, as a big league hitter, 3 for 22 with 4 sacrifices, his first plate appearance this year. So he got out of that inning on 9 pitches, throwing 7 strikes. Pretty good breaking ball by Anthony DeSclafani. First 2 innings, 26 pitches, 19 strikes.
Mostly fastballs.
Yeah. Good take by the pitcher. And he bounces one over the mound up the middle. Schumacher has to do the jump throw. And Joey Votto is a very good first baseman with a very nice pick. Joey Votto is the only Cincinnati Reds first baseman in history to have won a Gold Glove. He did that in 2011.
In history?
Ever.
Oh my gosh. That's because Keith Hernandez was in the league when Dan Dreesen was over there.
Yeah. Pardon my little slip when I almost said Golden Glove. Golden Gloves boxer is the guy sitting next to me.
Man, I got pounded so much.
Here's Span. So 6 in a row now for the Cincinnati right-hander since the base hit by Escobar.
Everybody used to play Span to left field. They're playing him straight away with the center fielder actually playing on the pull side. So they've been watching those home runs he's been hitting.
Yeah.
They almost played him like a right-handed pull hitter. And look at Hamilton out there. He's on the pull side of second. They generally played him over there almost right behind shortstop.
5 home runs on the year. His career high is 8. 2 balls, 1 strike. Denard hit the ball hard first time. Hot shot to Schumacher at second base. Jammed him there, and a ball rolled over to Joey Votto, to the pitcher. 2 outs. Get your weekend started right. Join Mike Heideck and Erica Grau for WUSA 9 Morning News. Don't miss it. It's tomorrow and Sunday morning starting at 7 a.m. Two outs, bases empty. Ian Desmond.
See if Desi stays with that up the middle stroke. A lot of times as a hitter, you don't do it really consciously, but when a guy has this much movement in towards you, you start trying or thinking that you have to pull the ball. He had success staying up the middle. Let's see if he maintains that. Even with the plate, he's protecting for that sinker by moving forward in the batter's box.
And by the way, you might see some sunlight in there right behind home plate here. At this time of the year, there's an opening in the lower deck, and the sunlight is coming right through into the batter's box. There you can see the lighted portion, and from the center field camera, makes things a little hazy. That was a swing, says Andy Fletcher.
And a quick thought here. As a hitter, when the ball's running in on you as much as this guy throws it running in on you, you have to look away. You have to look on the outside part of the plate and hope the ball runs back to the middle of the plate. Don't look inside because you'll be sawed off in there.
Good take by Desmond. It goes to 3-1.
Plus, he throws that slider out there. So the majority of his pitches he wants to throw away, working back to the outside corner. If he ever gets on top of the ball, it runs inside off the plate.
Up the middle again, but he got jammed on that, and the ball didn't have anything on it. And a lot of outs on the infield. Every one except Zimmerman's fly ball. knew Steven Strasburg was hurt. There was some loud contact in the first inning.
There certainly was, Bob. He was getting the ball down, but everything middle of the plate away, and then all of a sudden, man, he pulls off the ball and was laboring. You see the shrug there, and then this ball outside, he shrugs again. Obviously, it's something the upper part of his back or shoulder, but you're only shrugging when something doesn't feel good from neck down to about middle of the back. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that. We know that he's had a knot, kind of a knot behind his right wing. Just laboring out there.
Well, the good news on our summary there, Ian Desmond, a hitting streak now that reaches 13 games. Taylor Jordan, 10th pitch, and his 8th strike. He faces Zach Cozart. As I mentioned earlier, nobody in the Cincinnati lineup has faced Taylor before except for Marlon Byrd. That breaking ball stays up and in. Cozart, the home run guy, Votto, and then Todd Frazier here, bottom of the third for the Reds. And with that homer, by the way, they tied the Nats for number 2 in the league with 54.
And playing in this ballpark, you better be in the top 2 or 3 in home runs.
Yeah. Frazier's hit 14 of those. Marlon Byrd 10. 2-1 pitch. Laced out to center, and Denard cannot get to that one. Leadoff man aboard with more on Steven Strasburg. Here's Dan.
Bob, it's probably worth going over kind of the injury timeline with Strasburg this season. He sprained his ankle in spring training, and that injury kind of affected his mechanics to the point that his hips got tight. Then after the hips, again, more mechanical issues that he tried to work through, and that's when the back issue popped up. So it's kind of been a list of things for Steven this season. It hasn't just been the back issue. It's kind of been a progression of injuries that he feels led to that back issue, which bothered him a couple weeks ago.
All right, Dan, thanks for the, well, sort of the recent update on what's going on with Steven Strasburg physical. How about the power hitters the Nationals have faced in the number 2 spot this week? Chris Bryant and Anthony Rizzo in Chicago, and Joey Votto here. On the outside edge for a strike from Taylor Jordan.
We have Addison Russell hitting 9th. You have Billy Hamilton hitting 9th. That sets it up for Votto, who becomes a 3-hole hitter after the first time around the infield.
Yeah.
Only first time around the batting order.
Votto, a master of the strike zone, following that ball all the way in. Only 62 games for Joey last year. He had a distal quad strain in his left knee on the DL late May, and then July 8th missed the rest of the season. 31 years of age. He is vital to the Reds. Good pick, Espinosa, but he couldn't get it out of his glove, costing the Nats a chance for a double play. Cozart to second, Votto retired.
About as sure-handed guy as you'll ever see on the infield in the major leagues, and that's Danny Espinosa, ranging far to his left in his haste to get the ball out. Something that he seldom ever does is loses the handle, goes to first. What a good player that kid is right there. He's going to make a lot of money, whether it's playing every day or when Rendon comes back as a spot starting, flip-flopping utility type player, but few does it better.
Big time slow curveball there to Todd Frazier. Mercedes-Benz will track it.
Yeah, the breaking ball hanging inside, and he just can't get to it. A lot of times that backup breaking ball will, one of the best pitches in the game. You see it, you think it's going to break, and it ends up right on your hands. Nice pitch right there. Best fastball of the day, 93.
Frazier clean single through the left side first time. Batting average just over 260, but he's hit just under 310 now his last 22 games after a really slow start. On the 0-2 pitch, just missed. So STG with some Todd Frazier numbers. A lot of damage early, and then what happens to him later, that is very puzzling. Although, when he does make contact, it leaves the yard. Up the middle, Espinosa. With the runner moving to third, Danny takes care of that. 2 down.
I think a guy like Frazier, early in the game, you're going to see a lot of fastballs. He's a dead fastball hitter. He's always had a little trouble with anything moving away from him. Slider, curveball. Early in the game, pitchers try to establish that fastball, and he jumps all over it. As the game progresses, a few more breaking balls, more off speed, and that gets him back to where he should be.
He's become a fan favorite here.
Plays hard.
Yes, he does. Here's Jay Bruce hit into the unassisted Ryan Zimmerman double play first time. Another first for Ryan, at least on a ground ball. Kind of a hard thing to do. But Frazier stopped on his way to second base, and Ryan able to run him down. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, Ray Knight is with us this weekend in Cincinnati. Dan Coco is here. I'm Bob Carpenter. Congratulations to FP, his daughter Summer, graduating from high school this weekend. So he's in California celebrating a great achievement by that lovely young lady of his. Up and in with 92, and a foul ball hit straight down. You weren't too excited when you found out you were coming to Cincinnati, right?
I'm always excited to come out here and do these games. I love being with the ball club. Cincinnati, obviously, a place that I kind of was wet behind my ears. Came up here the first time at 19 years old, and lived here 3 different times, Bob. As a player, as a coach, as a manager, and then as a coach. But yeah, great city, and
yeah,
always fun to be with the team.
Well, I did hear somebody today say, is Ray Knight moving back here again?
Nope. if it wasn't so cold in the wintertime. But
yeah, that breeze comes down the Ohio River.
I'm having a great time in D.C. and enjoying that so much.
Target in here on 1 and 2. And Jordan goes in there on Jay Bruce. Counts even.
Yeah, I went from a coach player, always loved baseball, to just a huge, as you can tell, Washington Nationals fan. I know I'm not supposed to be a homer, but I can't help it. Can't help it.
2-2, target away. Jay Bruce reaches to stay alive.
But it's really a privilege to come to the work every day and get to watch the game that you love and see such great stars, and what a fantastic organization that the Nationals have become. And looking at this ballpark, about half full, and going back to the heyday when you couldn't get a ticket.
That ball hooking and foul into the right field corner.
And just to finish that thought, and then at our ballpark now, you just see men and women, fans coming in nonstop. The park fills up, and it's a wonderful feeling to have that kind of support.
You and Johnny do a great job of taking tickets out there in left center. Everybody has to come by you to get in.
Hey, I'll do that if that lets me see a ball game.
Pretty good battle here by Taylor Jordan and Jay Bruce. And by the way, folks, if you're thinking about running to the fridge or elsewhere during the break, make sure you are with us when we come back from commercial. Nissan tracks the at-bat, and I'll tell you, this is a snowball fight, this one. And that's low, 3-2. There's pitches all over the place here.
Well, you got to make a pitch here. It's almost like you've got first base open, and you don't want to give in here. You just don't. Bruce is starting to get him down timing-wise. Throw a pitch just off the plate. If you walk him, you walk him.
He did.
Yeah.
2 on, 2 out.
I like that. Start all over with the right-hander. Give yourself a play at second base in the infield, but you certainly don't want to give in to a man like Bruce, 3-2.
Yeah, so Brian Pena, the switch hitter, but not the danger guy that Jay Bruce is. Walk first time, and the last pitch of that walk was the last pitch Steven Strasburg threw tonight. 16 pitches, 8 strikes. .82 on the change in there, outside edge.
Outstanding motion on that changeup. It looks like a fastball. Throws it right there. That's unhittable, folks.
1-0 Reds, bottom of the third on the Votto homer. Hot shot, Desmond got behind it. Little shovel over to Danny Espinosa, and Taylor Jordan's gotten 5 important outs. All right, we told you, don't go away. 4th inning, straight ahead. From 1974 to 1981, and on a July afternoon in 1979, in one ball game, 6 RBIs. Look at the receiving reception.
How about
Bench,
that?
Ronnie Oster, all those guys.
That was a pretty good ball club, and Pete left, and I'm sitting there with all those great stars around me, and you know, after sitting on the bench a couple of years behind Pete, fans got behind me about June. They weren't real happy about Pete leaving, but always a packed house and tremendous organization. Grew up really understanding a little bit about how to play the game. The old Branch Rickey way, buddy. Same way with St. Louis Cardinals. You know, Cardinals, Dodgers, Reds played the same type baseball.
Well, congrats on a great career, Ray, and you would, of course, go on to be a World Series MVP on a very interesting, to say the least, New York Mets team. You guys just loved each other. Got to have a little spark in that clubhouse, though, don't you? A little soft base hit, and Escobar 2 for 2. A man's aboard for Bryce Harper here for the second time around in the 4th inning.
Sinker inside. He wanted to get this pitch away, and it actually is a breaking ball. Wanted it away. I thought it might be when Pena was signaling for that pitch down and away, and it hung, and he stayed inside. It's funny how all these balls are going back up the middle. There's no doubt that Rick Shue has looked at DeSclafani, or Fani, and
you can call him Anthony.
I might ought to. I'll call him AD. He and I are close.
That's good.
DeSclafani, and he stays in, told the guys, hey, look, this guy runs the ball in on you. Don't try to pull him. Slider's the second best pitch. Go the other way. And that's the way that ball club has approached him.
Bryce Harper called out on a pitch right at the top of the zone in the first inning with 2 men aboard. He's got 94 to throw by Bryce right there. And Mercedes-Benz will track it.
That's another thing when a guy's this kind of hitter. There's a little bit more adrenaline going when you're pitching, and he gets that thing up to 94. His best fastball of the evening against the hottest guy in baseball.
Target in now. Way in. Ball 2. It was 0-2 first time. Bryce got it back to an even count.
Well, it's going to be interesting where he goes here. Bryce is one of those hitters. It doesn't matter if it's in, out, up, or down. He can handle it. So what are you throwing here? Looks like another fastball in. He missed in there. He missed about 14 or 15 inches. Boys and girls at home, sometimes you think that you want to go to a particular spot, you miss it, and it ends up being a good spot. But right there, that wasn't a good spot. He wanted to go in, got it out away from him. Great swing. Bryce just barely missing, hitting that ball a long way. Wants to go inside here.
2-2 pitch. Harper, high chopper up the middle. He's hustling to first, but they got him on a 4-6-3. Well, Bryce Harper is going to be seeing everybody's best bolt as he goes through the middle of this season.
Yes, he is. Got a ball to hit, but he tried to pull it. That ball running hard away from him. When you try to pull it, you'll come over the top of it with your top hand, and that forces the bat barrel to kind of flip over the ball, creating top spin, and almost invariably you will hit the top of the ball.
Bases empty, 2 outs for Ryan Zimmerman. Fly ball to right first time. That was the last out in the first, when the Nats put runners at the corners with 1 out. So DeSclafani's done something not too many have done lately. Retired Bryce Harper in consecutive at bats. Zimmerman hits it hard, but right there is Zach Kozar, one of the most reliable shortstops in baseball. Leadoff single, no problem. The double play, and now bottom of the 4th in a 1-0 game. Monday, as the Nats take on the Blue Jays. Available for purchase at all Nats Dogs stands till the start of the 6th while supplies last. Gio can't wait. Get your game tickets now at nationals.com. $1 hot dogs. 1-0 Cincinnati. For the Achiever in you, PNC Bank. With our minor league report, a couple of guys who can swing it. Tony Gwynn had a good spring. Matt Dendecker started the season on the major league roster. And a couple of guys piling up some extra base hits and RBIs with the Syracuse Chiefs.
Both those guys can hit. They're major league outfielders. You know, they may be 4th or 5th outfielders, but they're good guys to have down there for an emergency and getting a lot of at bats. You may see them later on in the year, but they both, Tony Gwynn Jr. had an outstanding spring training.
Well, Michael Taylor in left field tonight. He'll be batting next inning, being presented with a big-time opportunity here. Taylor Jordan locking up Marlon Byrd, the first man he retired 2 innings ago, and that little flare out the center that Denard Span ran down. Dropping that one under his bat, 1-2. There's Tyler Moore. He'll be heard from during this coming time.
Man, he's a good hitter, boy. He just has not had much of an opportunity, but great stroke, great attitude, great slider.
Yeah, breaking ball down and away. Well done.
Outstanding little slider there.
Taylor Jordan, first strikeout.
Look at the bend on this slider and also the depth as he starts it just above the kneecap working its way to the plate. No chance. That's after running that fastball in on his hands. One pitch sets up another. It's amazing how that happens if you put it in a spot that you want to get it in.
Here's Schumacher. 0-2 pitch. He singled to right first time up.
It's the first strikeout of the evening for a national pitcher.
By the way, Matt Harvey is pitching for the Mets at home tonight. And the Miami Marlins are up 4-1 in the 5th inning at Citi Field. Nats are a game and a half up on the Mets. Fastball up with some crackle to it as it hit Ramos mitt. 94 miles an hour.
Marlins a little bit in disarray. I know Jan Jennings, he'll straighten that stuff out down there if you can get those players just to commit to him. But what a good looking offense they have running up there, all those hitters. Stanton and Osuna just back to back, and Gordon having a career year.
2-2 pitch. National League East standings. Braves a game under, 5 back behind New York, then the Phillies, and then the Marlins, who've lost 3 in a row again. Phillies have dropped 4 straight. Phillies are hosting the Rockies and trailing 2-0 at home. (3-2) with 1 out. Jammed him enough. Fly ball left center, and Denard Span's going to make the call and take it near Michael Taylor. Johnny Cueto is not going to pitch here on Sunday. We'll see who the Reds send out there. It's Gio and Raisel Iglesias tomorrow. Tanner Roark for the Nats on Sunday. And then the Blue Jays are in for 3 night games. Looking forward to seeing Bautista and Josh Donaldson and that slugging bunch.
Encarnacion.
Yeah, he's had a good career up there. There's Gio, who career against the Reds is 2-1 with a 1.06 ERA in 5 starts against Cincinnati. DeSclafani, a base hit to right, and Bryce Harper thought for a moment about trying to throw him out. The pitcher's aboard with 2 down.
Let him stand over there for a little while.
And there's one guy in baseball who can slow down Billy Hamilton, and that's the pitcher on base in front of him.
No doubt about it.
Bouncing ball to Danny Espinosa, first time up for the final out in the 2nd inning against Taylor Jordan. For the Reds, their 5th base hit. Escobar on the grass at 3rd.
Way in on the grass, about 4 steps on the grass, taking the bunt away completely. Zim playing behind the runner and then easing back as the pitch is delivered.
Out into center, not hit well, falling, running as Denard Span, and he's got it. That's it for the 4th inning. The Honda do-up, Washington style, 5th inning. Wilson Ramos recently had that long hitting streak. Danny Espinosa, Michael A. Taylor right behind him. top 5 in Cincinnati. Yoga fans, Nats fans, come out to the ballpark Sunday, June 7th. Inaugural yoga in the outfield after the Cubs and Nats at 4:05. It's a 45-minute session. That's easy for those of you who usually do the 60 minutes. You'll receive a Nats yoga mat. Get tickets for this special event at nationals.com/yoga. So you need a special event ticket for that after the game. W's all over the place here. That kid's looking for a Bryce Harper foul ball up there, or a fair ball somewhere. Wilson Ramos, since his hitting streak ended, the big homer in Chicago on Monday, but that's his only hit in his last 23 at-bats.
Yeah, they've been pitching him very tough. You know, he jumps on the first pitch a lot, and they haven't been throwing too many pitches down the middle of the plate. See how he swings at that first pitch a lot? I think that's gotten around the league, and he was hammering that thing to right center field. Now they're throwing it inside. It's not really where he likes the ball. He likes the ball out away from him, and then they go to work with breaking balls off the plate away.
And Ray, you know this, they'd love him to put that low and inside first pitch in play, because that's a rollover ground ball to the left side.
Yeah, he does not like to pull the ball, certainly not sharply. And what I mean by sharply, I call it rank pull, where you pull it maybe in the hole toward the line. His pull is usually straight away left field, unless it's a slow breaking ball. I mean, he's built that swing to right center. That's why he's such a good hitter.
Pitch up, and he was jumping all over 94.
He got away with that one right there. That was in his wheelhouse. Look at this ball. It's up just above the belt, right over the middle of the plate, moving in. Had the barrel right where he wanted it. Look at this swing. That is a strong, beautiful swing. And that ball up, that would have landed in the river.
2-2. Escovani's given up 4 home runs this year in 56 innings. And the league coming in only hitting .216 against him.
He doesn't throw too many balls center cut. Everything tonight has been inside 4 or 5 inches of the plate and then down and away.
Ramos puts a charge into it. It's hooking away from their center fielder over Billy Hamilton. And Wilson Ramos to the deep gap in left center. The Nationals' 4th hit and their first extra base hit.
Well, here's that great right center field stroke that turns to left center field when it's a breaking ball. Speed of the ball dictates the barrel of the bat, and Hamilton kind of goes down, out, and up on his route to the ball, and crushes that ball to left center field. Sweet stroke right there.
Yeah, you can't outrun the ball on a batted ball like that, and that was interesting by Billy Hamilton. Well, it's a 1-0 game. You have to at least advance the runner here. Number 8 man coming up. Danny Espinosa will be looking for something he can at least pull and maybe drive somewhere. He's driven in 14 runs.
For me, this is a great time. If you can drag bunt to the second baseman's way deep, he's going to have to beat Danny there. You get the ball by the pitcher. Even if you're out, you get the runner to third base. You may, in the most positive scenario, have first and third. Especially with a guy that throws so many sinkers. But you know, Danny loves the ball down. He loves the ball in. If he makes a mistake down and in, it could be 2-1. We don't bunt a lot. Matt Williams has established that. He wants these guys swinging the bat. We don't hit and run a lot. We don't steal a lot.
Espinosa gets under one, pops it up right side. So Joey Votto for the first out. Now Taylor, Michael A., and then Taylor Jordan.
Isn't that the way, though? Three fly balls as we look at the Reds' last 11 games, Bob.
Yeah, STG takes his inside, some rough numbers for Brian Price and his ball club. Not scoring. Not at all with runners in scoring position. Almost 6 runs a game. Earned runs. So here's Taylor. The Reds are 11.5 games out of first place, which is hard to do by May 29th.
Yeah, it really is.
And Milwaukee's 4 games behind them. That's how bad things have been there. Taylor fouled out to Votto first time. .85 on the changeup, stays up and in.
Bob, one thing when you don't run well, you've got to get a big lead at second base. The outfield is deep. You can score here, especially with the hitter next, but your second baseman is abandoned. He's gone. Shortstop's gone. Look how short that lead is at second. He needs to get another 6, 8, 10 feet off of that bag in order to have any chance to score on a base hit.
It's low. Ramos did extend it a little bit as the pitch was made.
Well, that's natural. That's called a secondary lead, but the second baseman dictates the lead, and we were always taught that you get as far off as the second baseman is. The third base coach has got the shortstop, and the second baseman is a good 30 feet away. You're not going to get that much lead, but certainly he's got a little bit more now, but still that's way too short a lead to have a chance to score on a base hit.
3-0 to Taylor. Taking all the way in the number 8 spot. Now we'll see if he sees any more fastballs. Michael's been susceptible to the hard-breaking ball down and away.
Well, he's got to lock in on that same pitch, right down the middle, look in that one area, and unload to that one area. Anything else, he just spits on it. Attaboy.
Yep. Takes the slider, cutter low, 2 on 1 out. And that will give Taylor Jordan now a chance to bunt a couple of runners ahead.
Same thing applies here with the runner at second base. Now you're going to have the shortstop behind you, so you can't get too much of a lead there or they'll pick you off. But you've just got to get enough lead and rely on your third base coach. Very tough assignment for Taylor Jordan to get a ball down here that's going to advance Ramos.
It's a good take. He bent his knees and got out of there on a pitch up and in.
Joey Votto charging hard already at about 75 feet. Frazier the same way, which is a little surprising because the pitcher has a third base line here and the third baseman has the mound.
Ball 2 upstairs again, and here comes Brian Pena to talk it over with the rookie starter.
Bob, I'm just going to show you here. When the pitcher, he has a third base line, he comes right here. The third baseman, he then covers anything back in here because you've got plenty of time to make the short throw here. So you should not be this shallow at third. You should be back in case he does swing the bat. The pitcher's got the ball bunted down the line. Then as a third baseman, it's almost like he's thinking about a double play here, being that tight to the hitter.
Yeah, possible, yeah. 2-0. Taylor Jordan, 4 career sacrifice bunts.
And Taylor's got to get the bat out front. You can't let the ball get on top of you. If you're going to bunt the ball to third, which is the right play, you go ahead and create that angle early. Get it out front, create the angle toward the third base, and then you just catch the ball with the barrel right where your hand is. It's like just catching it.
That's a pop-up, and fortunately unreachable. And now it's 2 balls, 2 strikes.
There's no reason not to be a good bunter. It's not that difficult if you work on it. Watch how right here, he's got the bat at the angle. That's perfect. That's perfect. But see how he changes the angle and turn and lets the bat actually drop back toward the home plate. You've got to maintain that angle, and it's not very difficult.
2-2 pitch. That's on the ground. Will it stay fair? It will. And safe at first. That ball had some spin on it, taking it toward the third base line. when it checked up and stayed fair, it gave Jordan enough time to beat it out.
Well, the pitcher's just staying there looking, and I just showed you who has a line. Frazier has to come all the way in, and look how far he has to go. I mean, he has to go about a good 40 feet to make the play when the pitcher only goes over there about 30 feet. That's the pitcher's ball if you're going to have a play at all. But actually turned out to be a perfect little wedge in there, Bobby.
That was perfect.
You're used to that. With that little cut spin on the ball and drop it right there and have it to check.
Remember a couple of those. Big spot for Denard Span now. 1-0 game, 1 out, bases loaded. He's pulled the ball on the ground twice, and he was ripping and gripping on the first one right there. Double by Ramos. Walk to Taylor. Bunt single by Jordan.
Everybody straight away. Double play depth. Shortstop a tad deeper, a little half step deeper. It's short.
Span pulls it right side. Votto double pump coming home. That took a while, and that was not close at home plate at all. Ramos retired, 2 down.
Well, when you have the infield that deep, the same thing applies at third. You get a big lead. He's not far enough off the bag there. He has no chance to score on this ball. I mean, you got to run 80 feet. If you take a good lead at third base, you're only running 65 feet, and that would make that play difficult. I don't care if you hit, catch, throw. Base running is a huge part of the game. I don't care how slow you are, because I was slow. You can be a good base runner, but we just were not aggressive enough there on our lead at third.
Now it's up to Desmond with 2 outs, and the 95 is right in there. Ian Desmond tonight has extended his hitting streak to 13 games. That was a base hit over the mound. The next time he bounced out to the pitcher as DeSclafani got in on his trademark. Way inside, 1-1. Here's the base running bunch. Taylor walked, he's at third. Jordan the bunt base hit, second base, and Span reaching on the fielder's choice. Desmond a chopper, third base line, looks like an RBI hit. I'm surprised Frazier even threw it, and the Nats are back tied. Ian Desmond, 15th RBI, and he's 2 for 3. He's had 5 hits now in his last 2 games.
Well, I'll take it. I'll take it. Great sinker, moving down, hits the top of it. Frazier playing back, making sure that he's going to be able to knock the ball down to make sure that no more than 1 run scores. No chance, as you mentioned, partner. Should have just put that one in his pocket, but Desi comes through once again.
There's Escobar, who's 2 for 2. If he keeps this inning going, you're talking Bryce Harper here in the top of the 5th. Escobar, high chopper to third. Frazier backs up. Votto stretches, and the inning's over. The Nats get 3 hits, 2 of them on the infield. It's a new ball game halfway through, 1-1.
out for another inning of relief work. Jordan had been pitching really well at AAA Syracuse prior to his call up to the big leagues recently. His last 3 outings, he had gone 22 2/3 innings, allowed just 4 runs with 0 walks, and those walks were the key for him. He told me the other day that he's been a lot more aggressive recently and has been focused on getting ahead of guys and then making smart pitches when he's got count leverage. He said, when I've got a guy 0-2, I know I can waste a pitch or two. I don't need to groove one or challenge him. I can try and make him swing at my pitch. It's been that mental adjustment that Taylor says has been key. He's been aggressive early in the count and then been smarter when he's got that count leverage.
Yeah, Dan hadn't pitched down there in 11 days. Went 9 with a run and 6 hits against Lehigh Valley. He threw 92 pitches, was not involved in it as Syracuse lost that game 2-1 in 10 innings. So throwing the ball well, and that's Dan's with our Coons.com sideline report. When you're talking cars, you're talking Coons.
And he certainly exhibited that against Jay Bruce in that 3rd inning with a runner on third base, 3-2 pitch, made a good pitch with the slider, walked him, but got a new count with Pena and got a ground ball to short.
Here's Zach Cozart. Pace it up the middle last time. Tight slider, 81 right in there. What a gorgeous night in Cincinnati. 82 at game time. A little muggy. One of those nights you figured the ball might be flying. It did for the Reds in the first inning, but Taylor Jordan, after Strasburg struggled and was eventually removed injured, has settled this game down. 47 pitches, 31 strikes through the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th innings. He's got a hitter 0-2 here. Left it up, and it's a good thing Cozart was early.
For real. That 0-2 pitch, we got to do better as a staff, although we've been very good, 2 or 3 guys in our staff, but you just have to do better than leaving a ball like that up in the zone 0-2. You got to bounce it, throw it in off the plate 4 or 5 inches. He's got to have no chance to hit it.
Fastball up, and that's out of play. Inside the numbers with Jeep. The Reds score 46% of their runs on homers. The Nats 40%. The highest. So how about those National League teams? That's a set of numbers for all of baseball. Harper leading the way for the Nats and Todd Frazier for the Reds. Base hit. And Zach Cozart is 2 for 3. 4 innings ago, Joey Votto left center against Steven Strasburg.
Fastball, starting inside part, moved back over the plate, and he slammed it to that first row in left center field. You're right, buddy. It's going to carry if they ever elevate it. We've had so many ground balls tonight with the 2 sinker ballers going.
I shudder to think what would have happened if the Big Red Machine had played in a ballpark like this.
Oh, my gosh.
Or Ray Knight, for that matter, because I know you hit a lot of balls off that, what, 10-foot high wall at Riverfront?
Yeah, I think it was 12 foot high.
That high, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
I hit a lot of line drives. I didn't get the ball up that much, and this ballpark, line drives carry out of it, and it makes a 15 home run guy a 25 home run hitter, no doubt.
Votto's hit 8 now. Pulled the ball last time to Danny Espinosa on the ground, and that's upstairs. 2-0.
One of the toughest guys in the league to pitch to. You mentioned it, Bob. He sees so many pitches. He has a great idea of the strike zone. Doesn't worry about pulling. He's basically right center to left center is his approach.
His on-base percentage this year is .373. Sounds pretty good, right? That's 40 points under his career mark. .417 coming into this year.
Excuse me, partner. They've always talked around here about him swinging the bat more, capable of hitting 40 home runs. But hey,
yeah, I know Brandon Phillips has had a few comments about that.
Yeah,
I think Brandon swings enough for both of them.
He does.
one of the most aggressive guys. And we'll see if the Nats have to face him in this series. If you missed it earlier, Phillips listed on the lineup card, but he's got left turf toe. And that's tough for them. He was hitting .320 in May. Two balls, one strike. Joey Votto to center. Span back. He's going to have room. He'll wheel and fire into second, knowing that Cozart is tagging. And Zach is there with one out, and Joey Votto almost went yard again.
I didn't think he got it just by the crack of the bat wasn't the same as his last AB. That shows you, though, with the ball skied, and that ball was skied. His other ball to left center field was more of a line drive. But look at the location on this ball. It's out away from him, catches it just about an inch and a half, maybe 2 inches near the end of his bat, just off the sweet spot. And as a result, he hit it about .395.
Todd Frazier next. Left-handed Jay Bruce after him. So the Nats have just tied the game. Can Taylor Jordan get the scoreless inning in the fifth to keep this thing tied, because Harper, Zimmerman, Ramos go next half inning. Frazier gets jammed and pops it up.
Nice
Escobar
pitch.
left side. Two down.
Good spot to put a pitch when you have that kind of sinker. The ball was up, but hitters that are home run hitters, they have a tendency to want to pull that pitch. And as a result, if you pull it, you start your swing a little early, ball running in on you. You have sometimes a tendency to swing at bad balls, and that was a bad ball up and in and jammed him.
Here's Jay Bruce. Has bounced into a double play and walked. Taylor Jordan with an 82 in there.
Throwing that slider for a strike, I like it. A guy, first ball, fastball hitter like Jay Bruce, you throw him the slider or curveball, very seldom will they swing at it.
Now he goes a little harder, and Span's going back, and he's there. Leadoff single, no problem for Taylor Jordan. He has now pitched 4 scoreless innings in Major League long relief. Well, the Nats scratching out a run there in the 5th inning. And then Taylor Jordan gives up a base hit and then shuts down the Reds. Never stop improving. Lowe's. Highest on-base percentage plus slugging in May since 1914.
Oh, my God.
Babe Ruth's on that list. Helton in Colorado. Bonds, Pittsburgh, and San Francisco. Of course, he did that with the Giants. And look at Bryce. And, of course, Frank Thomas, now a Hall of Famer. And Mark McGwire in his home run year of 1998. Bryce Harper just reaches out, hits it hard to right center, and running it down, Billy Hamilton. And Bryce 0 for 3 tonight. First pitch hacking, top of the 6th.
He gets a pitch really to drive, but the ball moves once again outside part, and Bryce hooking that ball as opposed to going the opposite way like he's been doing. Both of those pitches that he's hit tonight have been balls that he ought to hit to left field, left center field, and he's gotten the barrel out in front just a little too much. Catches it on the end.
Zimmerman goes up first pitch swinging. That ball is in the gap, and it gets beyond Jay Bruce. Fumbled a bit by Hamilton, but Ryan Zimmerman will have a double. Ryan was 0 for 11 in the Chicago series and 0 for 2 tonight before getting a two-bagger opposite way.
He takes a pitch that looks like to me just a fastball away and hits it right where it's pitched. Great effort by Jay Bruce. Little trouble with coming up with it with Billy Hamilton, but we go on and make it to second base and gives us 2 opportunities to go ahead in this ball game.
Well, Wilson Ramos has busted up a 1 for 23. Zimmerman an 0 for 13. We'll see if they go back-to-back here and put the Nats on top. Wilson hit a ball extremely hard to the deep left center gap just last inning to start off that rally. Low and in. So some extra base hits starting to pile up after all the singles early. Ian Desmond 2 for 3, 13-game streak. Escobar 2 for 3. And the pitcher Taylor Jordan has a bunt base hit that helped the Nats get that run. 1-7-0 Washington, 1-6-0 Cincinnati. Ramos up the middle. Ball rolling, not that hard, and here comes Zimmerman. Billy Hamilton's throw off to the side. Zimmerman gets around the tag.
What a slide, Bob Carpenter.
No, that was Ryan Zimmerman.
Yes, it was.
Now, Brian Price is a step or 2 up from the Cincinnati dugout, and we'll see if we've seen the last of this play.
Well, I don't know, but we'll see right here. It just looked like to me a great slide, and he missed him, no doubt about it. You see where he tagged him. If he would have tagged him, it would have been right down the first baseline. That's where he finally got to him. But look at his mitt.
Wow.
Hitting the first base pass. Ryan already touching the bag right there, the plate. No doubt about it in my mind, just because of where the catcher ended up with the ball on the ground.
And Brian Price goes back down the stairs. His clubhouse has confirmed for him a fantastic safe slide by Ryan Zimmerman. By the way, Ramos goes to second on this play.
What a tremendous job. He ends up going toward the infield grass about a step. And actually, Pena caught that ball a little farther back than he had to. Bob, pretty good, I mean, real good throw from Hamilton.
Yeah, just up the line enough to take Pena away from the plate. Amazing slide by Ryan Zimmerman. The Nats have the lead. Espinosa goes up swinging. That's an easy fly ball for Hamilton. 2 outs. Boy, the Nats have been attacking early in the count in this inning. A big run sitting out at second base if Michael A. Taylor can convert.
Hey, let's take another look. He charges the ball well. Great exchange. Little high. The ball back. But you see how he went backwards. I think they just are so confused, these catchers, with blocking the plate that he didn't have to go there. It took him, as you meant, up the line, but he could have stayed right in the middle of that line and caught the ball. Because he's away from the plate, you can go wherever the ball takes you, and he let the ball go all the way back across the line before he caught the ball, and as a result, Zim just read him and make a great play.
Well, they were walking Taylor before anybody was on deck, but now Taylor Jordan comes out. So it'll be first and second, 2 outs. And Jordan Taylor will have his 3rd at bat of this game. Taylor Jordan. That's gotta happen once a game, right?
Oh, it happens to me all the time, man.
Folks, don't give your kids last names for first names. It's really confusing for announcers. All right, 2 on, 2 out. Taylor Jordan, a ground ball back in the third. The bunt base hit. Little chip shot that checked up in the fifth, and here he is with a chance to put the Nats on top by 2. 94.
Zim's a guy that runs about average, major league average, but it shows you he never makes a base running mistake. And that deal about you don't have to be fast to be a great base runner. And he may be the guy that you look at because he just certainly runs the bases so well. Can go from first to third, tag up from third and score.
Taylor Jordan into right field. Jay Bruce underneath it. Now the Nats have scored in 2 consecutive innings. 2 hits, a walk. They've stranded 7. Ryan Zimmerman's brilliant split-second decision gives the Nats a run. Helps put the Nats on top, and why not come out to the ballpark next Thursday? The Nats and the Cubs starting at 7:05. First 25,000 fans receive a Ryan Zimmerman bobblehead presented by PNC Bank commemorating his walk-off homer on the first night of Nationals Park history. March 30th, 08. Go to nationals.com. Get your tickets, get your bobblehead, and everybody in your house will run the bases better.
Do everything better. He is one of the most intelligent baseball players in the league.
And Ray, why don't you share with us your thoughts on what you've seen from Ryan at first base this year?
Oh, I don't know that he could play it any better. He looks like he's been over there forever. You know, he's such a great athlete, buddy, with his hands as good as anybody. And over the last week or so, I was concerned a little bit about his throwing. Because that's what we had problems with before. But he has just made such a great adjustment with that. Getting rid of balls quickly to second, always accurate. Did that 3.63 the other day, which is really tough to do. Shows great range, and even with leading the pitchers to first base, does it like a quarterback.
Nobody throwing in the Nats bullpen as the bottom of the 6 rolls around. It's Taylor Jordan against Brian Pena. Rips it right there. Oh my. Yeah, he's okay over there. The glove has always been magic. 1 quick out. Marlon Byrd, Skip Schumacher, the next 2 Reds.
You're not going to find anybody that has better eye-hand coordination than this kid. Ball smoked, 2-hopper, catches it on the short hop like he's just picking it. Golly, he is so good.
Wouldn't that be something if he could win a Gold Glove at 2 different positions someday?
Well, he could. He could. There's no reason. I don't know anybody better over there. The toughest thing probably is the bunt plays where you're holding a runner on and you have to leave and make sure that the pitcher pitches, and he's done that well. And then catching throws from the infield.
1-0 and a big time drop on that curveball. I mean, if that's a slider, that thing went straight down. 81.
He got on top of it. He got on top of it. I haven't seen that pitch tonight. I believe that is a curveball. He's been throwing a slider. He decides to break it out. Whatever it is, he ought to throw it more often. That's a really good pitch. Tough to hit when it's working its way straight down.
Kind of interesting, Jordan. He'll sit at 89 quite a bit, but we've seen a couple of 93s and 94s tonight. 2 balls, 1 strike. 3-1 now. Reds have had at least a hit in every inning. Cozart, their shortstop, leadoff guy, has 2. Votto's homer in the first, their only run. They have only 2 hits from the 4th hitter on down in their lineup tonight. And he holds on to that one too long and jerks it outside. Taylor Jordan with his 2nd walk. That'll bring in the left-handed hitter Schumacher.
.69% fastballs. That's quite a few fastballs. He's throwing more breaking balls as the game progresses. Matt starting to have the wheels turn a little bit.
Yeah, Aaron Barrett and Matt Thornton were moving around in the bullpen at the start of this half inning, but weren't throwing. Reds bullpen getting busy now because their pitcher's on deck. And that ball is laced into right. Harper back, and he can't get it. It hits off that wall, stays in play. Bird heading for third. He'll hold there. And suddenly the Reds have a rally, and you would think they'll be hitting for their pitcher here. That ball really hit hard.
That ball
Schumacher 2 for 3.
The ball was smoked. Fastball just stayed on the inside part. Only thing that kept this in the ballpark is it just didn't have enough elevation. But great job by Bryce as he plays that ball off the wall, quickly getting it back in. Bird runs really well. Take a look at this, how Bryce gets there, and the ball goes up high off the wall, and he able to get it on that second hop and scoop it from the grass, getting it back into the infield. Perfect little relay throw. Certainly don't want to run on Danny's arm, but nice job. Sometimes that is overlooked. Now that's another Gold Glove candidate.
Here's Brandon Phillips, who's won some Gold Gloves, and evidently the turf toe's okay to swing the bat. As I mentioned earlier, Phillips hitting .320 in the month of May. He's 0 for 1 as a pinch hitter. That's infield back. They'll trade the tying run to get an out unless it's a grounder back to the pitcher or to Escobar at third. Fly ball to left. He didn't get a lot of it, but that should be enough to tie the game. Taylor with a bullet home, and Ramos couldn't hold on. It's a 2-2 game. Some kind of throw by Michael A. Taylor. And the runner, Bird, gets up, not feeling too good after that.
Short hop gets him here. Taylor gets rid of that ball quickly, catches the ball over his right shoulder, and just short hop just got him. The only thing that you can do in that is go and catch the ball a little bit shorter on the hop and then make the play. Once you get that in between hop, there's really hardly a chance for a catcher. And but you could go and take a half a step forward, catch it on the real short hop, and try to make the tag that way.
Well, Brandon Phillips, one of the most aggressive hitters in baseball, did not waste any time tying this game. Taylor Jordan still has a chance to get out of this by giving up only 1 run in 5 innings. Aaron Barrett firing things up in the bullpen now. Bottom of the order now, Billy Hamilton. He's 0 for 2. Ground ball, fly ball to center. And both of those at bats against Jordan, who came on with nobody out in the second inning after Steven Strasburg walked Brian Pena and had to leave. Escobar again on the grass at third. That's a fastball, 90 for a strike. 9 o'clock at the Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. Opened up in 2003. Skip Schumacher. His double sets up the sac fly that ties the game. First game of a 3-game series here. The Nats have won 12 of their last 16 road games. Run back action, strike 2. The left-handed hitter gave up on it. Mercedes-Benz will track it.
Just the edge. Inside part. Other one outside part. So he's used every bit of that plate.
It's a big out to get here to get this game into the 7th inning. The Nats, by the way, have the top of the order due up. Jammed him, and it goes foul.
Here's another one of those situations, although Hamilton's not hitting very well. You take a 1-2 pitch and you expand the plate about 4 or 5 inches on each side. You also expand the strike zone to the top of the letters, working it up. And any breaking ball you throw is on top of the plate, because this guy swings at anything.
That's trouble. Big trouble. Drops in center, and coming around is Schumacher. Cincinnati has taken the lead. Billy Hamilton, 12th RBI of the year, putting the ball in play. And that's going to be it for Taylor Jordan.
Well, just right there, belt high. Built-in elevation, jams in big time, but because of the elevated ball, gets it over the infield, dumps it to center.
Well, Taylor Jordan had it going on tonight until this inning. The 1-out walk to Marlon Birdhurt. Schumacher double, sac fly, base hit, and now Cincinnati on top. Here's Aaron Barrett. Is presented by authority of the Washington Nationals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the expressed written consent of the Washington Nationals. Taylor Jordan, 74 pitches, 49 strikes. to get 1 out short of 5 innings. It's up to Aaron Barrett facing Zach Cozart. Second time career, and Cozart has a base hit against him. He's also had 2 hits tonight. Blinding speed at first, inching off, and there he goes. Breaking ball, Ramos short. Billy Hamilton stayed on the bag, and he's 19 for 22 this year, wasting no time.
Pretty much automatic that he's going to run. Every opportunity he gets, he's going to run. Stealing over 100 bases in the minor leagues, and he just outruns the baseball. He probably fastest guy in the league. He and D. Gordon.
Well, they're tied in steals unless Gordon swiped a couple tonight. Danny Espinosa just hoping he'd lift up off the bag there, staying with it.
Now, there's no reason for him to steal third. He's in scoring position, but he's the type of guy that will just take off and hope that the catcher makes a bad throw. So you can't just let him stand out there and get any kind of lead he wants.
The one reason you wouldn't want him on third if you're the Nats is because Aaron Barrett, if he gets ahead, likes to bounce some breaking balls with that nasty
That's
slide.
a great point.
23 games. Yeah, right-handers actually hitting better off him than the lefties. Runner at second base, 2 outs, 2 runs in for the Reds. 80% on the inherited runners stranded.
He's going to be a big star in this game, I believe. He has that fastball and the slider that when he throws it correctly. Certainly Bryant the other day hit it a long way, but he hung that, and as he has more experience, he'll learn to bury that slider. That's another hanger.
Yeah. Aaron's leaving that slider up too high. Denard Span has no chance. Cut off by Zimmerman. It's a 3-run Cincinnati rally in the 6th inning, and all those runs will be charged to Taylor Jordan, and the book is closed on him.
And this ball just spins in there. Just, you've seen him throw so many good sliders that are just left-handed turn, and that ball has a lot of spin on it, but he starts it too far inside and leaves the ball right down the middle of the plate. He must start the ball outside third, working his way off the corner of the plate.
So a 1-out walk and a couple of hits turns into 3 runs given up by Taylor Jordan, all here in the 6th. Next up, Joey Votto. Joey Votto facing Barrett for the first time. .94, running to the outer half. So Jordan goes 4 2/3, 6 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, a strikeout, a wild pitch, 74 pitches, 49 strikes. And the Nats now down by 2. That's a good slider to the lefty.
Still not as sharp.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good strike, but still not that sharp slider that we are used to seeing from Aaron. Sometimes you try to throw it too hard and it loses its bite.
Reds have had hits in every inning tonight. Now DeSclafani, who leaves after 6 innings, 8 hits, 2 runs, has a chance to be a winner. Barrett buries that slider, evidently
That's
a foul ball.
That's the good one right there. Well, slider is like a BP fastball if it doesn't break. There it is. You see the bottom falling out of that and how it works its way down to the plate. You've got to have it at the bottom of the strike zone. If it's up, it's just sitting there on a tee for you. Just a very easy pitch to hit.
That was a changeup at 81.
Well, he doesn't throw many of them, does he?
I'm a little surprised. You're right. Pretty snappy throw down there by Ramos, and just back Zach Cozart.
Well, this ball's down in the dirt, and he picks it. He looks at him and just kind of just all arm as Cozart leans the other way. If he comes up gunning it down there, he has him, doesn't he?
Fastball up and away. Runner on the move, strike three. Votto tosses the bat away and just now looks back at the umpire. So Joey Votto taking the inning over, but the Reds parlay 3 hits, a walk and a sac fly into a 2-run lead. Denard Span coming up shortly. Our game summary: Ryan Zimmerman got a double and then scored a brilliant run on a great slide to help the Nats take the lead before that Cincinnati 3-run inning. Wilson Ramos has had a good night. Taylor Jordan almost able to get through 5. And Ray Knight, couple of knocks again by Ian Desmond tonight, hitting streak at 13 games.
Stays inside the fastball to extend that hitting streak in the first, and then taps one to third, infield single that drove in a run. 2 knocks. That's hit. His batting average keeps going northward.
31-year-old right-hander, 6'4", 278, Jumbo Diaz.
Well, they named him right. That's a big boy right there.
3.27 ERA this month. This is interesting for a reliever. Diaz has given up 9 of his 13 runs this year on home runs. So Denard Span steps in.
He's got a real live arm, Bobby. He could get that fastball up 95. It's fairly straight, though. That's where the home runs come from. Guys just get it going, and it is at 98. He'll settle in about 95, 96. See the ground ball outs. It's a pretty good ratio right there.
And Denard Span, 1 career plate appearance against him. It was a base on balls. 1-0 count. He'll turn his back on that, and the ball will run back over the inside corner. You talked about the consistency of Jerry Meals. He's been giving the right-handers that running fastball all night.
Yeah, he is. He's definitely a pitcher's umpire. Been around a long time. He doesn't go crazy with his calls, but if that thing's borderline, it's going to generally go to the pitcher. We've seen it time and time again tonight.
1-1 to Span. Way inside. DiNardo for 3. Ball on the ground all 3 times. Ian Desmond, RBI infield hit last time up. Span up the middle, hitless, no more. Nationals have 6 hits now in the last 3 innings. And Ian Desmond has a couple of those.
Doesn't matter how hard you throw. This is 97 miles an hour. This kid can flat out hit, can't he? He puts the barrel on the ball just about as consistently as anybody in this league. Doesn't matter how hard you throw, he always is able to barrel it up. What a player he is.
Just like that, Ian Desmond represents the tying run. Running fastball 95 to the inner half. So Desmond continues to pile up the hits. He's now 19 for 52 during his hitting streak, batting .365. That's a good take on a pitch boring down and in on him. Funny catch there by Pena. That tells you that fastball's got some action to it.
Late action. Looks like more running action away from left-handers into right-handers. And then the pitch that he threw to Spanny was straight.
So that was Tony Cingrani throwing in the Cincinnati bullpen, one of their 3 left-handed pitchers. You might be interested to know that Jason Marquis, a former Nat, and there's Blake Trinan, was rumored to be the starter on Sunday, but he's in the Reds bullpen right now. Runner on the move, and Desmond fouls it back. So there's Matt Williams getting a runner started, down by 2. Washington, D.C. Lexus dealers, $250 to the Children's National Health System for every homer a Nats player hits this year. Lexus, the pursuit of perfection, as our production crew tries to channel a long ball here.
I think we'll see more runners on the move as the season progresses. You know, without Rendon in that lineup, and you know, you don't want to get runners thrown out, but this guy is so slow to the plate, so elongated, big arm action. So he's not very difficult to run on at all. Pena, a very average thrower, pretty accurate.
Over 12 years in the minor leagues before he got the call by the Reds last year. Desmond, that's a hard slider. That's not a slider. That's 98 with what appeared to be cutting action.
It was cutter. It was
away from
definitely
Ian
a cutter.
Desmond.
Got right on top of the ball, able to finish with it, and you see the ball just move away from him. As you said, Bob, it's just when you can throw 98 and get on top of the ball like that, it's lights out.
Yeah.
You don't see that movement. You don't see that late movement.
Nissan showing us the cutter of the evening right there. Here's Escobar facing Diaz for the first time. I thought he might go up hacking if he sees the first pitch fastball. He did last time with the bases loaded 5th inning and hit a 1-hopper to Todd Frazier to end that frame. It's when the Nats tied it. Then they took the lead in the 6th.
He knows pitchers extremely well. He's one of those guys that studies pitchers and taking his glove off. I thought for a moment he might have hit it with his bat, but I guess the ball just took it off.
You're going to get some different kind of action with a guy throwing like this.
Great arms in that bullpen. This guy throwing 98 and several guys out there pushing it past 95.
0-2. Escobar had to go down to get it, but Diaz gave him some plate there with that pitch. Denard Span this year 3 for 3. With one out, maybe a little reluctant to run. You don't want to take the bat out of Bryce Harper's hands, who's on deck. And that is a hitter getting overmatched. Escobar cannot advance because first base was occupied, but Span can, and he's down to second base on the wild pitch strikeout. That was a little crazy right there. Using the whole field with power, Ray Knight, Bryce Harper.
Not too many people can do this. Take a fastball up and out away from him, inside out like you're sawing it off. Most hitters hit that as a gork over shortstop, then straight away center field about 420 on a hook. And then you think you can throw him inside? Nope. Hits it up there in that second deck. So much power. Ability to hit the ball out of the ballpark, even when he's trying to hit the ball the other way. And talked to Bryce when he first got here, and he talked about his daddy, Bob, and how his daddy worked with him on soft toss and had him always hitting the ball the opposite way. And he says, I really feel more comfortable hitting the ball to left center field than I do to right field. And there's not a lot of young hitters that say that.
Dad knows best in situations like that. Jumbo gets a couple of, shall we say, big outs for the Reds. Left-hander Tony Cingrani. He's had 3 different appearances this year when he's thrown more than an inning. Actually 2 innings and then 2 others where he's thrown an inning and a third. So the left-hander against Bryce Harper, maybe the one number here that means the most is that these two have faced each other 3 times. Cingrani has struck out Bryce twice and got him on a ground ball the other time.
He throws a lot of breaking balls generally to left-handers when he was a starter. I haven't seen him much out of the pen, but let's see if he stays with that breaking ball mentality.
Yeah, 18 starts 2 years ago, 11 last year. Exclusive bullpen work, appearance number 17 this year.
God.
And Bryce takes 193 right in the middle of the back.
That wasn't even close. I mean, there's no way that he's going to hit Bryce in that situation and put the go-ahead run at the plate, but this ball misses probably 3 feet, at least 3 feet inside, and that is weak right there.
Well, Bryce took his time departing.
Well, it hurts. This guy,
Looks like Joey Votto's got something to say to Bryce Harper.
I would shut up if I was Joey Votto.
Bryce is handling this a lot more maturely than the older veteran is right now.
Well, you just don't get involved in that. You just don't get involved in that. I mean, it hurts. I don't care. It's just a reaction. You don't necessarily know he's throwing at you, but the fact is it's 95 hitting you in the back.
You know, Andy Fletcher's just standing there. At some point, the umpires have to say, okay, let's go. He just did clap his hands.
I mean, one of the things about Joey Votto that has gone around in Cincinnati, and I'm not a negative guy, I certainly don't like to pick things up, but they talk about his lack of leadership here, and then he goes out there and he pops off. I don't mind a player protecting a pitcher, but Bryce isn't doing anything right now but expressing that anger, and that's coming only from the fact that ball hurts.
2 on, 2 out here. Cingrani stays and faces Ryan Zimmerman, and it's their first career matchup. Yeah, we were told coming into this weekend by a lot of people who see the Reds every day that this team has no life, no spark. Joey Votto picks that time to provide some spark. I heard a story the other day that they were rallying in the late innings against Colorado, and 3/4 of the team was still sitting on the bench, maybe a couple of guys up on the front rail. While on the other side of the diamond, all the Rockies, a last place team, were up on the rail.
Yeah, sometimes you get a makeup on a ball club that you have very passive people. I like expressiveness. That's why, not only because of his ability and all the things he can do, but you got to like Bryce's energy and his intensity. It just brings something to the ball club. I mean, every time that you see Max Scherzer, you get pumped up.
Sure.
I mean, and there's a lot of positives when you have some energy.
1-2 to Ryan Zimmerman. Line drive right at Joey Votto. And he's the hero of the moment in Cincinnati. He's also hit a home run tonight. And so we arrive at the Hyundai 7th inning stretch. Nats frustrated. They have stranded 9 runners tonight. Brought to you by your local BMW centers and by visitannapolis.org. Find the Chesapeake experience at visitannapolis.org. Well, Joey Votto had a lot to say to Bryce Harper coming down the line. Then he caught Zimmerman's line drive. And then as Joey Votto came off the field, getting some love.
Yeah, Billy Hatcher.
Yeah, Billy was a fiery guy. He's like,
he was.
I'm probably glad to see some of that in my guys, says Billy Hatcher.
I would be doing the same thing if I were a coach. And that's what you want from probably your best player.
Blake Treinen takes over, bottom of the 7th inning. First time Todd Frazier's season, and that 97 comes running right in. Follows it up with the slider, and that is way out of here. Upper deck. Reds lead 5-2 as Blake Trinan gives up his second home run of the year.
Worst pitch in the world, worst pitch in baseball. Slider that don't slide. I probably hit about half of my home runs off of those type pitches. And the reason is because you're geared for a 97-mile-an-hour fastball.
Jay Bruce out on one pitch.
And here it comes at 85, and it doesn't do anything. It's just like, we call it basically a BP fastball because it's just spinning. Even if it has a little downward movement, just so easy to get the barrel way out front.
Next up will be Brian Pena. So that was 15 for Frazier now. His 29th RBI. As mentioned earlier, he's hit the second most home runs in the league behind Bryce Harper.
Little pumped. That was 99 right there. How about that? Slider ball. Watch it start belled high, and then it's just spinning. And it only moves about maybe 8 inches down, but it's just spinning. It's not anything sharp. And I promise you, it's just like it's sitting on a tee. I think FP calls it a helicopter or
cement mixer.
Cement mixer.
Like the truck right in front of you.
Right. It's spinning, but it's not doing a whole lot.
Not going anywhere.
No.
Yeah. By the way, that homer by Todd Frazier measured at 428 feet. Good job of getting inside on that one by Brian Pena. Just lining it up the middle. He's on for the second time tonight. Marlon Byrd next, and he's the only Red prior to this that's ever faced Blake Trinan. 0 for 1 with a strikeout. You know, I know what the Cincinnati announcers were saying last half inning. Why would our guy hit Bryce Harper in a 2-run game?
Oh, you know Marty Brenneman's saying that.
Yeah, and you know, so there's always two sides to every story. But Ray, when it's in the middle of a guy's back, that's when, you know, thoughts start wandering a bit.
I think what happens there, a guy like Cingrani, first base open, he's not in any way in a ball game you got a 2-run lead trying to hit him. But what he's thinking, and I'm going to bust it inside. I'm going to bust him inside. And he throws as hard as he can. And if it gets away, it gets away. But not something intentional. But as a hitter, again, you're going to react. I reacted one time to Nolan Ryan that way. And I didn't react anymore. Because
you didn't go out there, did you?
No, I did. I mean, no, I got hit and I went to first.
Yeah.
And then I was yelling at him from second.
Escobar, Espinosa. And the Nats couldn't get Marlon Byrd, who still runs very well at the age of 37.
I was yelling at him from second. He just turned around and just looked at me and stared at me. I said, get the ball over the plate. And he said, it was a breaking ball. I said, what? To myself, Alan Ashby was the catcher. I come back up the next time and he said, Ray, why are you so ticked off? That was a breaking ball. I said, I don't care what it was. It hurt. The next pitch, Nolan threw one right up under my neck. And I said, well, that's about 100. I'm going to shut up because you're not going to win that battle as a hitter.
Not with him.
No.
Just ask Robin Ventura that one night when he chose to go out there. Although you would have been a better matchup than Robin.
I wasn't worried about going out there. I just didn't want to get hit by that thing again.
1 ball, 1 strike to Schumacher, who's had a good night. His double was the key hit that got that 3-run rally going last inning. They had 1-on-1 out with a walk. He doubled over Bryce Harper's head, and the Reds went on from there.
Yeah, right in his power zone, right off of that orange, but middle in, and he scalded that ball. There was no doubt. Bullet right over Bryce's head, short hop the wall.
That's pretty good. 97 diving down and away.
Filthy. You don't find too many people that have a better arm than this guy, but you know, it's not about throwing, it's about making pitches. And as these guys mature and get more experience, they'll be able to do that.
Schumacher out of UC Santa Barbara. Been in the big league since '05. He moved to second base from the outfield 6 years ago. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 263 with the Dodgers 2 years ago, and 235 with the Reds. He was hurt last year. That's low and away. 3-2. Runner moving. Ground ball. Zimmerman went after it for a moment, now retreats and receives the throw from Danny Espinosa. But Todd Frazier with an upper deck left field homer makes it 5-2. Career against the Reds 2-1 with a 1.06 ERA, looking for his 5th win this year. Reds will go with Raisel Iglesias, 25-year-old Cuban, 19 career innings at the big league level, and he's 1-1 with a 4.26 ERA. 3:30, it's a 4:05 game tomorrow, and that's extra. Johnny and Phil at 3:30. Ray Knight can only do so much. So here we go to the 8th inning. Another hitter for Tony Cingrani. In this case, Wilson Ramos, who faces him for the first time. Ramos a 2-hit night. Double in the 5th, RBI single in the 6th. Ramos, the second base hit, drove in Ryan Zimmerman.
As he does, right back up the middle, he's an RBI machine, man. I don't know that there's anybody in the club I like hitting in RBI situations. Tremendous slide. As Zim fights to get to the plate, changes his route about 5 steps from home plate.
And Ryan, who doesn't show much in terms of emotion out there, a little bit of a fist pump there. That gave the Nats a short-lived 2-1 lead. Reds got 3 in the 6th. The Frazier homer leading off the 7th. Ramos high in the air to right. It'll play for Jay Bruce. Nats are running out of outs. 5 more. The Potomac Nationals back in Woodbridge now through next Tuesday. Jersey giveaway night, scout camp out, a championship canvas photo night, and SNL jersey night. Didn't know those guys played baseball. 703-590-2311. PotomacNationals.com. You can also like them on Facebook, Twitter, or just go online. Left-hander Matt Thornton for the 8th. Danny Espinosa against Cingrani, career 1 for 3 with a double.
All over the place. He's not throwing 2 pitches in the same location thus far.
.92 and not even close. Right-hander J.J. Hoover for the Reds. Taylor's next. Then the Nats, if the inning continues, would hit for Blake Trinan. Dan Ugla for that number 9 hole. Cingrani just 2-8, 13 games, 11 starts last year. He had shoulder tendonitis late June, didn't pitch the rest of the season. Espinosa takes it up and in. Nats have a base runner and they need a couple more. Michael Taylor stepping in, 0 for 1, couple of walks tonight. Dan has more.
Bob, Taylor's had some big hits for this Nats ball club, but he's been struggling a little bit of late over his last 9 games, including today. 1 for 21 with 10 strikeouts. Matt Williams said the key for Taylor, as it is for most young players, is swinging at strikes. He needs to get the opposing pitcher in the zone and give himself good pitches to hit.
Well, he doesn't represent the tying run. His job to get on base, and then Dan Ugla is next. Taylor goes up swinging at 91 and took a pretty good rip.
Good pitch to hit. Well, he can hit a fastball. His bat is as quick as anyone's, and I agree 100%. To be a good major league hitter and hit for average, you've got to get good balls to hit. You have to learn what pitches you can handle, lay off of that pitch, even if it's a strike. Lay off of it until you get 2 strikes. Know what your strength is, play to that, figure out what your weakness is, because all hitters have them, and try to stay off of those pitches.
I tell you, Cingrani comes very close.
That looked like a ball.
To stepping more to home than he does to first.
That was weird. It was supposed to. There's a 45-foot angle there, but 45-degree angle. Used to draw a line to try to give umpires exactly what that 45-degree was, and that could have been a balk. He stepped right about where the line was, but it was just his angle of his move toward the plate.
Taylor with a big-time rip at 91. And they can't really draw a line on the mound because different guys pitch from different sides of the rubber.
Absolutely.
Totally changing that angle.
I heard you make that point one other time, Bob, and it's so true. They tried to draw a line, and then they realized that the angle changes as you said. The pitcher moves to the first base side of the rubber, third base side of the rubber. But getting back to hitting, Michael Taylor just missed 2 good hittable pitches.
And that's going to ring him up as he takes strike 3. So we'll see if Cingrani stays now that Dan Ugla does not represent the tying run.
And there's that expanding strike zone that we talked about. That's a little too much there. That's 2 balls. I don't like that call. But you know that he's going to call it borderline. That's a little more than borderline there, though.
So The Reds, no tying run in play here. Cincinnati pitching coach Jeff Pico. And by the way, we probably need to mention this when the Reds come back up in the bottom of the 8th. Jim Riggleman is on their staff this year, and he's the third base coach.
Good man.
He, he had some opinions about his situation in D.C. He acted on them. It rubbed some people the wrong way. Jim had to do what he felt was best for himself, and he resigned in the middle of the season.
Well, he was given that option. I mean, there's no doubt he was given that option, and I've been right where he was. You've got to have confidence in your ability, and you want to have the people supporting you. But Mike Rizzo is as fair as a man can be, and just didn't want to make a decision in the middle of the year.
Yeah. Dan Uggla is 0 for 2 career with 2 strikeouts against Tony Cingrani. Probably another reason why the lefty stays. Kind of interesting that Uggla, who spends a lot of time on the bench, has only had 3 pinch hitting appearances. Usually when he plays, he's got the start. He's 1 for 3 as a pinch hitter. And the count's 1-2.
Always been a hitter that has a pretty good idea of the strike zone. Very aggressive, you know that. Never has been one to shorten his stroke with 2 strikes.
Three and 2, and Danny Espinosa will get a head start here. A runner aboard, 2 outs, top of the 8th. The Nationals are down 5-2.
Goes without saying, a huge pitch right here. You get this runner on base, and
lefty Span on deck. And Uggla airing one out. Get your weekend started right. Join Mike and Erica for WUSA 9 Morning News tomorrow and Sunday, starting at 7 a.m. Good to have them with us again tonight. And a 3-2 pitch. Espinosa already has about a 25-foot lead. Joey Votto is way behind him, and for some reason Cingrani stepped off to check a runner that doesn't mean a whole lot right now. Three-2. Uggla looked like he checked, and he did.
Checked it.
2 on. And now Denard Span does represent the tying run, but it's a lefty-lefty matchup.
You see that he got it right. He started big, strong hands. That barrel laid off, never got anywhere near the front of the plate, and I found that is about where they look. In front of the plate, the bat passes the front edge of the plate.
That puts it in fair territory if it does.
Right.
That's the way an umpire explained it to me one time. He said, if I'm down at first base and I see the bat pointing at me for that split second, it's across the plate, or at least in fair territory, and I ring him up.
Well, that's the way I think they should look at it.
So here's Denard Span. Of course, some guys are deep in the box and some guys aren't too. Up and in. Certainly this is Cingrani's last batter, no matter what happens, because Desmond is next. Denard's been great with runners in scoring position. He's 0 for 3 career against the left-hander, with 2 line drive outs and a strikeout.
A guy that's this wild, you have to look in one small area as a hitter, because he's going to walk you if you make him throw enough pitches.
He looks like he's really aiming the ball right now.
Well, to hit Bryce the way that he did, and then just miss outside, miss down, miss up, he's been all over the place. So that tells me that his rhythm is way off. His release point is never the same, because he can't throw the ball in the same spot twice, as my dad would say, to save his life.
Well, sometimes as a reliever, you are trying to save your life out there.
Aren't you?
Nats need a big 2-out hit. They're down by 3. 4 outs with which to work. And a count of 2-0 for Span. Quarter line, and he got the strike zone.
Well, he took about 5 miles an hour off of that fastball and guided it in there, 90 miles an hour, and right at the top of the strike zone. Mills is going to call it.
Looking at his power, his control numbers from last year: 61 strikeouts, 35 walks in 63 innings. Maybe a reason Tony Cingrani is no longer a starter. Ball 3. You know, and that's interesting for Mills, because it was close to being a strike, but he had just given the inside corner, and hitters don't like it when an umpire gives both sides.
Yeah, well, he's called that all night long, but as you say, look at him, look how he's setting up right way over the inside corner of the plate, way in there, so he may just peek at that ball outside. Look how he sits over the inside corner.
So he's given the inside edge, because he's looking over Pena's right shoulder.
Yes, sir. Look right here. He's right over that inside corner, so he's going to give you everything in there, and then outside, he may have a little peek.
Well, Denard, if this thing is in any quadrant of the strike zone, has to be hacking.
Merry-go-round.
And Span will pop it up straight back. And out of play.
Tough man to strike out, Denard Span.
Well, on the year, Span has struck out 13 times in 130 plate appearances.
Fans coming alive.
So he's making contact 90% of the time this year. Crowd of 28,877 watching. A long inning for their left-hander. And he just walks Denard Span, and he's walked the bases loaded, and he'll be leaving. Cingrani got the last out last inning, but not exactly in impressive fashion on that Zimmerman laser over to Joey Votto. Double switch coming. Right-handed matchup in a moment after we tell you that you can follow the Nats all season. MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Up to the moment, in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcast, StatCast. MLB.com. Get it for your smartphone or your tablet. Christopher Negron takes over, and he'll be batting 8th for the pitcher at second base on the double switch. And right-hander J.J. Hoover takes over here. 19 innings, 15 strikeouts, but he's walked 11 guys. So obviously the Cincinnati bullpen has had some control issues.
Well, they have, and they've got great arms out there in Cingrani, Diaz, Chapman. Hoover more of a finesser. He can get the ball up there, 92, 93, but he throws a lot of sliders, curveball.
Ian Desmond,
slider.
the Nats shortstop, 2 for 7 career against him. With a double and a home run. Outside, ball 1 with 94. Ian Desmond already a 2 for 4 night.
I said this earlier. All the pressure's on the pitcher here. And I mean, he wants to make a perfect pitch. And that ball was so hittable. Nothing kills me more than to see a pitch right down the middle and have it fouled off. You don't get generally more than one good pitch to hit in at bat, Bob. Taylor fouled a couple of pitches off and worked the walk.
1-1. Wow, that was close to the outside edge at 95, ball 2.
It's just a tad outside. But you see how Mills, that's the pitch that he's going to call a ball. I mean, he's so much on the inside corner of the plate. Same way with the left-hander. Look how he's right in there. Too big a swing. Desi, too big a swing. You know, this guy supplies his own power at 95, and he's just pulling off of this ball. Ball down the middle, ends up off the end of his bat because that left side's flying. Hard to gear down in this situation. Bases loaded, down 3 runs. That pitcher supplies the power. Just make contact with a short stroke to the ball, and good things will happen.
Ian Desmond, the 4th most struck out hitter in the National League this year. The Nats strand 3. It's been a dirty dozen left on the bases tonight. Decisive inning of this thing so far, and the T-Mobile game changer goes to Billy Hamilton.
Single to center field as he fights off a fastball up, drives in Schumacher, and then right behind that, steals second base easily, tied for the league lead with D. Gordon at that moment, and then Cozart scores him from second as he easily beats the throw to Denard. Denard not even having a shot, but that's what he can do, man. He can disrupt the game if he can just get on base for you.
Matt Thornton takes over for the Nats here. 19th appearance, 2.31 ERA. And he faces Christopher Negron, who came in on the double switch and is now batting number 8 in the pitcher's spot. Billy Hamilton to follow, and then Zach Cozart, bottom 8.
Great acquisition right here by Mike Rizzo. A guy that had started to languish a little bit in the big leagues. Kind of a journeyman guy, but he's certainly been impressive here with the Nationals in the late innings.
And he was ripping on 2-0, wasn't Negron. 29-year-old outfielder from New Jersey. Reds got him in a trade for Alex Gonzalez and cash back in 09 for the Red Sox. And then he re-signed with the Reds as a free agent a couple of years ago. Popped up very high, right side, Espinosa out and under, and has it for the first out. Toyota case for kids now. Washington area Toyota dealers helping children and their families every time there's a strikeout by an Nats pitcher. $37 to the Children's Inn at the National Institutes of Health. Billy Hamilton, that RBI hit. It was a tie game when he drove in that run 2 innings ago. Facing Thornton for the first time. In the air, short center, Span will get there. 2 down. Well, there's your point about Billy Hamilton. He's hit the ball in the air 3 times tonight. One of them dropped in. And now the Nats are looking at the fireballer, Aroldis Chapman, for the 9th. Although he only has 7 saves this year, his teammates haven't given him that many chances.
They haven't. I'm interested to see if he's going to throw those triple digits at you.
If you weren't with us for the early minutes of the ball game, Steven Strasburg threw 16 pitches tonight, was removed in the 2nd inning after walking Brian Pena. The Nats policy is no information on injuries during a ball game. We await some post-game information along with Dan Colco and along with you. Danny Espinosa takes care of it. There's heat coming for the bullpen, but Harper will hit after Escobar and before Zimmerman. Who's had to piece together enough pitching to get through 8 innings so far. And Ray, here we are. This is the 2nd inning. That's the off-speed pitch to Brian Pena when Steven stumbled and then jerking that shoulder around after he walked Pena. And then Lee Kuntz walks him off after Matt Williams and Steve McCatty came out.
Hate to see it, Bob. We don't have any clue. We know that he's had problems with his upper back, behind his right shoulder, down in there. Saw him shrug his shoulder after that pitch that missed about 2 feet inside, then missed on the next pitch about 2 feet away. He has scuffled so much his last 5 or 6 starts. Just hope that it's something that he can get worked out and it's not a major problem for him, but you just hate to see someone walk off the mound like that.
Aroldis Chapman, 120 career saves. Yunel Escobar leads off, and of course he's been in the American League for a number of years. He's never faced him before. Pops up the first one over by the Reds dugout, out of play.
And that is so weird to me to see a guy that throws 100 have a 3-run lead and comes in with a breaking ball. I don't get it. Surely he knows Escobar is a first ball hitter, but when you throw 100, who cares what he hits first pitch? 15 runners on base, Bobby, tonight for the Nationals. Only 2 scored. How many have we stranded then?
A dozen. Yeah, it's been frustrating. You can hear the mitts of Brian Pena popping all over downtown Cincinnati.
101 sizzling, neck high. Nobody in the history of the game can hit that pitch. Nobody. Not up there. It's hard to make a guy get the ball down when you're not seeing it, but for like 1/10 of a second. There's some serious juice, ladies and gentlemen. He did nick it, but there is no chance. These Reds, if they ever get a chance to have a lead, they have a bullpen that looks like they might be able to hold it a little while, but dang, with Hoover and Diaz and Cingrani and now Chapman, all of them throwing 95 to 101.
And Bryce had a good rip. He was booed loudly as he stepped in a moment ago.
Pete Rose used to talk about that booing. He loved it. It shows respect. They're scared of you. They recognize you, especially if you're away. Now, if they start booing you at home, you might have a problem.
Yeah. Bryce is 0 for 3 career with 3 strikeouts against Aroldis Chapman. Would he drop an 0-2 breaking ball on him? That's extra 3:30 tomorrow. Gio Gonzalez against rookie Raisel Iglesias.
Well, he's giving you a chance if he throws you the breaking ball. I mean, he gives you a chance at 91. You have a chance at 101 neck high. You don't have a chance at there. Bryce is so quick. He's so quick, though. Throw it out away from him. He has a chance. It doesn't matter who you are, but you got to lay off of it. If it's out.
Bryce Harper base hit.
There you go.
So he refuses to go 0 for tonight. He gets on base his last 2 times up. And maybe that plants a seed in your dugout that, hey, we can get a hit against this guy.
Well, you know, you get the ball down, you start the bat soon enough, you're gonna catch up with it. You can't catch up with it though if it's chest high or above. But nobody ever threw it hard enough to throw it by a really good major league hitter if it's down the middle of the plate. And Bryce certainly is that.
Ryan Zimmerman's 1 for 3 career against Chapman. Changeup, 85.
Oh, that's funny. It's funny to me that you even throw a changeup. Isn't it to you? Or is it just me?
You know, even when you're on the other side, you kind of want to see the fastball on every pitch.
Well, when you got one in Bless like that, you know, certainly you work on pitches and trying to have something else to go to. But like that 87, that gives you a chance.
Yeah, and Ryan was way out ahead of it. So he's seen 2 off-speed pitches here. 1 out, top of the 9th. The Nationals need another base runner and then somebody to pop one. Wilson Ramos is on deck. He's 2 for 4 tonight. Zimmerman 1 for 4 with a right center field double back in the 6th inning. Chapman has not given up a home run this year.
I just think it as a hitter that there's so many guys that threw hard out of the bullpen back when I played. I think of the great Lee Smith with all those saves. He threw about 100, and he'd throw you a slider almost to every at bat, and Man, I was so happy to see that slider.
1-2 to Zimmerman. Another off-speed pitch, 2 down.
That's the changeup, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a good one. I mean, you throw 101 and then that kind of changeup.
Last hope for the Nats, Wilson Ramos. 0 for 5 career against Chapman with 3 strikeouts. Harper on his way to second, and the Reds are on their way to a win. Rough night for Matt Williams to manage a ball game when his starter retired 3 batters and had to be removed because of an injury. The Reds take game 1 5-2, a rare Nats loss on the road.